Glenridge is a small town in northern Oregon. Population about 8,000, surrounded by pine forests. It looks peaceful on the surface. But in the past 3 months, 5 residents have disappeared without a trace. The police announced them as voluntary missing persons. But the townspeople have begun to worry. Lena Hart is 17 years old. She's a junior at Glenridge High School. She's quiet and doesn't have many friends. But her observation skills are second to none. She never misses even the smallest changes. Lena lives alone with her mother, Rachel. Her father left when Lena was 5. Since then, her mother has worked at the town library to support them both. Rachel is a diligent person. But lately, she looks tired. Work has increased. Lena's room is at the end of the 2nd floor. Through the window, she can see the backyard and the forest beyond. Every night, she hears strange sounds. A metallic ringing. At first, she thought it was the wind. But it was regular, like a signal. Lena began recording the sounds in her notebook. Time, duration, direction. After 3 weeks of recording, the sound was mainly heard between 2 and 3 a.m. It seemed to come from the forest. Lena, not sleeping again? Mom knocked on the door. I can't sleep. Stop looking at your phone and go to bed. You have school tomorrow. Okay. Lena put the notebook in the drawer. There was no point telling her mother. Last week, when she mentioned the sound, her mother said this. You're just too sensitive. Don't worry about it. But Lena was certain. Something strange was happening. And a month ago, a new neighbor moved in next door. A middle-aged man named Mr. Clayton. The townspeople welcomed him, because he made a large donation to the city council. He also paid for the library expansion. He's such a good man. Thanks to him, our library is getting renovated. Mom praised Clayton, but Lena didn't like him. She couldn't explain why. She just felt uncomfortable. Clayton's house is right next to Lena's. It's not a mansion, but the yard was large. And there was a basement. Lena noticed it from the first day he moved in. The ventilation ducts protruded above the ground. One night, Lena heard that sound again. The metallic ringing, but this time it was different. It came not from the forest, but from next door. From Clayton's house. Lena opened the window. Cold air came in. The sound was clear, regular knocking, as if someone was calling for help. Her heart beat fast. Lena took out her notebook and recorded it. 217 a.m. Direction of next door basement. Repetitive metallic sound. Lasted about 2 minutes. The next morning, before going to school, Lena looked carefully at Clayton's house. It was quiet, as if nothing had happened. But Lena knew, there was something. The town still looked peaceful. People smiled and greeted each other. The coffee shop was full of customers. But Lena felt it. All of this was just surface. Posters of missing people were attached to utility poles. The last missing person was a week ago. Mr. Park, the owner of the town convenience store. He disappeared on his way to work at dawn. It's scary, a passing grandmother muttered. You shouldn't go out at night these days. Lena nodded. The school is in the center of town. A small building. Lena walked down the hallway, observing her surroundings. The kids were chatting as usual. But the teachers were different. They looked anxious. During 3rd period history class, Lena looked out the window. A police car passed in front of the school. Slowly, as if monitoring something. After class, Lena went to the library. She liked quiet places. There she leafed through old newspapers. An article from 10 years ago. Glenridge Development Plan announced. City Council cooperates with outside investors. There was a familiar face in the article photo. It was Clayton. He had been connected to this town for 10 years. Lena took a picture. It felt like something was connecting. On the way home, Lena looked at Clayton's house again. He was gardening in the yard. Their eyes met. Hello, Lena. He waved. Lena awkwardly bowed her head. And quickly went inside the house. At dinner, Mom asked. How was school today? It was fine. Did you see Mr. Clayton? He was gardening. Yes. He's a good man. Kind to us too. Lena didn't answer. Mom trusted Clayton. But Lena was different. Night came. Lena sat by the window again. She opened her notebook and waited. For the sound. 212 a.m. The sound came. This time it was clearer. Metallic ringing. And a faint voice. It sounded like a human voice. Lena trembled. But she stayed seated. Listening and recording. That was all she could do now. The town was asleep. But Lena knew. This town never sleeps. Something was moving in the darkness. And Lena decided. She would reveal the truth. The next morning, Lena looked for Evan Miller at school. Evan is a classmate. President of the computer club. He doesn't have many friends, but he occasionally talks with Lena. Evan, can we talk for a minute? During lunch, Lena asked carefully. Yeah, what's up? Evan looked up from his sandwich. Lena looked around. Other students were far away. She took out her notebook. Look at this. I've been recording it for 3 weeks. Evan took the notebook. Time, place, sound patterns. It was meticulous recording. What is this? A sound diary? There's a strange sound coming from next door. Almost the same time every night. Isn't it just the heating system? No. It sounded like a human voice. I definitely heard it last night. Evan thought for a moment. And looked at the notebook again. Next door. Mr. Clayton's house? Yeah. He's famous in town. He donates a lot. That's what makes it stranger. Lena's voice was low but firm. Evan nodded. Okay, let's check it out together. After school, the two went near Lena's house. Clayton's house was quiet. The car was gone. He seemed to be out. Now, Lena whispered. The two moved carefully along the fence. They went to the backyard. They could see the ventilation duct. A metal grate protruding about 30 centimeters from the ground. Evan knelt down and put his ear close to the vent. I don't hear anything. It's only audible at night. Around 2 a.m. Lena also knelt down. Inside the vent was dark. Nothing was visible. Then it happened. A faint sound was heard. The sound of metal scraping. And something like a small groan. Evan looked at Lena. His eyes widened. Did you hear that? Yes, I definitely heard it. The two looked at each other. Tension flowed. Isn't there someone inside? Evan's voice trembled. I'm not sure. But Lena couldn't continue. Something sparkled in the grass next to the vent. She reached out. It was a small metal name tag. Look at this. A name was engraved on the tag. J. Park. Mr. Park. The convenience store owner who went missing a week ago. Evan's face turned pale. Is this real? He's on the missing persons list. We need to report to the police. Yes, right now. The two hurried away. Lena's heart beat fast. Along with fear came certainty. That she was right. The sheriff's office was in the town center. A small building. Lena and Evan went inside. What's the matter? Sheriff Thompson asked. He's a man in his mid-50s. He's worked in town for over 20 years. We came to report. Lena held out the name tag. We found this at Mr. Clayton's house. I think it's Mr. Parks. Thompson took the name tag. He examined it for a moment. And put it down on the desk. Where did you find it? In Mr. Clayton's backyard. Near the vent. Near the vent? Thompson's expression hardened. What were you doing there? We heard a sound. A strange sound. So we went to check. You shouldn't trespass on someone else's yard. Thompson's voice became cold. But there might be people inside. Evan interjected. Mr. Clayton is an important supporter of the city council. He does a lot for the town. So what? Is that important? Lena's voice rose. Lena, calm down. I understand what you're saying. But there's not enough evidence. We can't do anything with just a name tag. What about an investigation? Searching the house. We need a warrant. And to get a warrant, we need solid evidence. Thompson put the name tag in a drawer. I'll check it out. You two just go to school. But that's enough. Go now. Thompson waved his hand. The conversation was over. Lena and Evan left the office. Frustration washed over them. I can't believe it. He's completely ignoring us. Evan muttered. It's intentional. He's hiding something. Even the sheriff? I don't know. But it's clear that Clayton has a lot of influence in town. The two walked in silence for a while. The sun was setting. The streets were quiet. Should we find evidence ourselves? Evan asked carefully. How? I don't know. But if the police won't move, we have to. Lena nodded. It was right. But it was dangerous. On the way home, Lena looked at Clayton's house again. The lights were on. He had returned. Clayton saw Lena from the front door. He smiled. But the smile was cold. Lena turned her head. And quickly went inside the house. In the evening, Mom asked. Where did you go after school today? I was with a friend. With Evan? Yes. Mom looked at Lena for a moment. As if she wanted to say something, but in the end said nothing. Night came. Lena couldn't sleep. Her mind was complicated. The police couldn't be trusted. It seemed useless to tell Mom. Then what should she do? It was 2 o'clock. Lena opened the window. She waited. The sound came. This time it was longer. Metallic sound. And a clear voice. "Help me." Lena trembled. But now she was certain. There's someone in there. Someone who needs help. She wrote in her notebook. Need to find evidence. By any means necessary. Lena closed the window. And got under the covers. She had to talk to Evan again tomorrow. She had to make a plan. The town was still quiet. But a storm was brewing in Lena's heart. There was fear. But she couldn't give up. Something terrible was happening. And no one was trying to stop it. Then she had to do it. Lena resolved. The next day, Lena met Evan at school. But Evan's expression was dark. "What's wrong?" Lena asked. "The sheriff came to our house last night." "What?" "Thompson warned my parents not to trespass on Mr. Clayton's house, that it's a legal entry." Evan bowed his head. "And my dad told me not to hang out with you anymore." Lena couldn't say anything. Her chest felt tight. "I'm sorry, Lena. I can't help it." Evan said that and left. Lena was left alone. During lunch, Lena sat in the library. Her thoughts were complicated. Even Evan left. Now she was alone. When she came home, Mom was sitting in the living room. She seemed to have left work earlier than usual. "Lena, sit down." Mom's voice was heavy. Lena carefully sat on the sofa. "I got a call from Sheriff Thompson today. He said you trespassed on Mr. Clayton's house?" "Mom, that's not." "Lena." Mom raised her hand. "Why did you do that?" "Mr. Clayton is good to us. But something strange is happening. In that basement." "Stop it." Mom's voice became sharp. "I know you're sensitive, but this is too much. What are you doing going into someone else's house? There's evidence. The missing people." "Evidence? What evidence?" Lena tried to talk about the name tag. But Mom didn't listen. "Mr. Clayton called directly. He said you're investigating his house." "How rude." "Mom, you're grounded for now. Come straight home after school. And give me your phone." "What? Your phone? Right now?" Lena looked at her mother. There was fatigue and anger mixed in her mother's eyes. "Mom, please listen to me. I said give me your phone." Lena slowly took out her phone from her pocket. Her hands trembled. She handed it to her mother. "Go to your room," Mom said. Lena went upstairs without a word. She closed the door. She sat on the bed. She felt like crying, but she held it back. She looked out the window. Clayton's house was visible. It was quiet. Too quiet. She didn't eat dinner. She wasn't hungry. Mom didn't call her either. Night came. Lena opened the window. Out of habit. It was 2 o'clock. The sound came. This time it was different. More urgent. Metallic sound with something like a scream. Lena covered her ears. But the sound didn't stop. Then she remembered her laptop. Lena opened the desk drawer. The laptop was still there. Mom didn't take it. She connected to the internet. She typed Glenridge missing cases in the search box. Several articles came up, but there were no details. All just the phrase, presumed voluntary disappearance. Lena searched deeper. She found articles from 10 years ago. Clayton and the town development plan. And she discovered one strange thing. There were missing cases 10 years ago too. 3 people, all unsolved. Lena's breath caught. This was no coincidence. She scrolled down the laptop screen. And did another search. Clayton basement construction permit. City council documents came up. It was a PDF file. Lena opened the file. There was a basement blueprint. It was deeper than a normal basement. And there were several rooms. Why would he need such a large basement? Lena muttered. Then a sound came from downstairs. It was the doorbell. Someone came. Lena opened the door slightly. She could hear Mom's voice. "Mr. Clayton, what brings you here at this hour?" "I'm sorry, Ms. Rachel. May I come in for a moment?" It was Clayton's voice. Lena's heart beat fast. "Of course. Please come in." Conversation sounds came from the living room. Lena listened from the top of the stairs. "Your daughter seems very interested in my house." Clayton's voice was soft, but cold. "I'm really sorry. I've talked to her. It's okay. Children are curious." A brief silence flowed. "But Ms. Rachel, are you having any financial difficulties?" "What? Why suddenly?" "As I've been supporting the library, I've learned about the staff's situations. It's not easy raising a child as a single mom, is it?" "That's Something we'll handle ourselves. I can help. Like a scholarship. Won't Lena need it when she goes to college? Lena held her breath. That's too generous. Mom's voice shook. It's not generous. It's my job to help those who work for the town. Thank you, really, but I'll ask one thing. Clayton's voice lowered. Please make sure Lena doesn't take interest in my house anymore. It would be troublesome if there's a misunderstanding. I understand. I'll make sure to warn her. Thank you. I'll be going then. The front door closed. Lena quickly returned to her room. She sat on the bed. Her whole body trembled. Mom was bought. With money. Clayton was clever. Lena felt helpless. No friends. Can't trust Mom. Police won't help. But she couldn't give up. Lena opened her laptop again. She saved the blueprint. And created an email account. A new account. She sent a message to Evan. To his school email. Evan, it's me. My phone was taken. You can reach me at this address. I found evidence. Blueprint. I'll show you at school tomorrow. She sent the message. She didn't know if he'd reply. But she had to try. She looked out the window. The lights in Clayton's house went out. Lena decided. She would do it alone if necessary. She would gather evidence. And reveal the truth. It would be a lie to say she wasn't afraid. But anger was greater than fear. The town fell asleep. But Lena was awake. She opened her notebook. She began writing a new plan. The next morning at 7, Lena waited for Evan in the school library. It was before first period. Not many people were there. Evan came in. He looked around and approached Lena. I got your email, he said in a small voice. Thanks. I didn't think you'd come. It's a secret from my parents. It looks too dangerous though. Evan hesitated for a moment. But I'll help. I think you're right. Lena nodded. Her heart warmed. Did you see the blueprint? Yeah, the basement is not normal. There are 3 rooms, and the ventilation system is unusual too. You mean it's for confinement? Not certain, but it's suspicious. The two were silent for a moment. I think we need to go in ourselves. Lena said carefully. When? Tonight. I found out when Clayton goes out. Wednesday night at 8, there's a city council meeting. You're sure? It's posted on the library bulletin board. Clayton's attending too. Evan took a long breath. Okay, let's do it. At 7 p.m., Lena waited in her room. Mom was watching TV downstairs. She was grounded, but Lena had already made a plan. At 8:10, she heard Clayton's car leaving. Lena checked through the window. The car left the street. It was time. Lena opened the window. There was a tree close by. She had climbed it a few times as a child. She carefully moved to the tree. She got down to the ground. Her heart beat fast. Evan was waiting at the corner of the street. He was wearing a backpack. Ready? Yeah. The two approached Clayton's house. They went to the back door. Evan took out tools from his backpack. What's that? From my dad's toolbox. Can be used to pick locks. Evan touched the lock as he learned from YouTube. After a few minutes, there was a click. Got it. The door opened. The two went inside. Inside the house was dark. Lena turned on a portable lamp. Weak light illuminated the hallway. We need to find the basement entrance. There was a door next to the kitchen. Lena turned the handle. It was locked. I think this is it. Evan took out the tools again. The lock was more complex. It took time. Hurry. Lena whispered. I'm doing it. Just a little. Click. The door opened. Stairs were visible. Going down. The two slowly went down the stairs. The air was cold. There was a damp smell. The basement was wide. There were doors on both sides of the hallway. Just like the blueprint. They opened the first door. It was an empty room. But there were strange marks on the wall. Like scratches made with fingernails. They opened the second door. There was a chair and table. And documents. Evan picked up the documents. Look at this. Experiment records. Experiments? Drug administration, observation logs. What is this, on people? Lena snatched the documents. There were names. The names of missing people. This is evidence. We need to take this. Evan put the documents in his backpack. They stood in front of the third door. There was a sound behind the door. Human sounds. Lena held her breath. She opened the door. There were people inside. 3 people. Chained. Please help. A man said weakly. It was Mr. Park, the missing convenience store owner. Mr. Park. Lena approached. Who are you? We came to rescue you. We need to call the police. Then it happened. A sound came from upstairs. The sound of a door opening. Hurry. Evan pulled Lena. But these people. Not now. If we get caught, it's over. Footsteps came down the stairs. It was Clayton. Who's there? His voice echoed in the hallway. Lena and Evan hid in a corner of the room. But Clayton knew exactly. Lena, Evan. Come out. I already know. Lena trembled. There was nowhere to run. Come out. Then I won't hurt you. Evan looked at Lena. What do we do? Lena looked around. She saw an electrical panel. A large switch panel on the wall. That. Lena whispered. If we cut the power? We can create confusion. Evan nodded, and quickly approached the panel. Clayton entered the room. At that moment, Evan flipped the switch. The lights went out. Complete darkness. What are you doing? Clayton shouted. Lena and Evan ran. They groped for the door in the darkness. They got to the hallway. They ran to the stairs. They could hear Clayton's voice behind them. Don't run. They passed through the kitchen and out the back door. Night air hit their faces. Run. The two ran into the alley. They were out of breath. But they didn't stop. They ran 3 blocks. And stopped. They looked back. No one was there. We did it, Evan said panting. And we have evidence. Lena checked the backpack. The documents were still there. What now? Not the police. Thompson can't be trusted. Lena thought. Big city media. We need to go there. How? Tomorrow morning. Pretend to go to school and take the bus. To Portland. Evan hesitated for a moment. And nodded. Okay, let's go together. The two promised. Tomorrow morning at 7. At the bus stop. Lena returned home. She climbed the tree and entered her room. Her breathing was rough. She sat on the bed. Her hands trembled. But hope arose. She had evidence. And a friend to go with. She looked out the window. The lights in Clayton's house were on. He was surely angry. But Lena was no longer afraid. Tonight, she found courage. And hope that the truth could be revealed. Tomorrow everything would change. Lena believed so. The next morning at 7, Lena left the house with her backpack. Have a good day at school, Mom said from the doorway. Okay. Lena bowed her head. The lie bothered her, but it couldn't be helped. Evan was waiting at the bus stop. Ready? Yeah. The bus to Portland arrived. The two got on. Glenridge moved away outside the window. 2 hours later, they arrived in Portland. It was a big city. There were many people. Where should we go? Evan asked. The Oregon Times. It's a major daily newspaper. Lena had looked up the address beforehand. They took a taxi. The newspaper building was in the city center. It was a tall building. What can I do for you students? The receptionist asked. We came to report. It's an important case. You want to see a reporter? Yes. The receptionist made a call. After a while, a middle-aged woman came down. I'm reporter Choi. What's the tip? Lena took out documents from her backpack. Missing cases are happening in Glenridge. But the police are trying to cover it up. This is evidence. Reporter Choi took the documents. She read slowly. Her expression hardened. Is this real? Yes. We found it ourselves. Where? Lena explained everything. The sounds, Clayton, the basement, the imprisoned people. Reporter Choi took notes. And called her boss. This is a big case. We need to send a reporting team immediately. An hour later, a reporting team was formed. Police came too. State police. Not Glenridge police. In the afternoon, the group headed to Glenridge. Lena and Evan went with them. They arrived at Clayton's house. The police presented a warrant. Clayton couldn't resist. People were rescued from the basement. 3 people including Mr. Park. All were weak but alive. Thank you, Mr. Park looked at Lena. He shed tears. Lena couldn't say anything. Her heart was full. Clayton was arrested. More evidence came from the documents. City council figures were also involved. All were to be investigated. Sheriff Thompson was included. He had taken money to ignore the cases. The sun was setting. Lena returned home. Mom was sitting in the living room, watching TV news. The Glenridge case was being reported. Lena. Mom looked at Lena. Her eyes were red and swollen. Mom, you were right. Mom stood up and hugged Lena. I'm sorry. I didn't believe you. I believed Clayton because of money. It's okay. No, it's not okay. Mom should have protected you. Mom cried. Lena cried with her. It was warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. But you did it. You were brave. Mom held Lena's shoulders. It was too dangerous. But without you, those people wouldn't have come back. I didn't do it alone. Evan helped. Yes, he's a good friend. The next day, Lena and Evan were treated like heroes at school. But the two stayed quiet. We just did the right thing, Lena said. A week later, the whole town changed. A new sheriff came. The city council was also reorganized. The rescued people were slowly recovering. Mr. Park reopened his convenience store. Lena, thank you. He handed Lena chocolate. Take anything you want anytime. That's okay. Lena smiled. A month passed. Winter was approaching. Lena still looked out the window from her second-floor room. But now there was no fear. The house next door was empty. Clayton was in prison, waiting for trial. Lena, dinner. Mom called. Coming. Lena opened the desk drawer. The notebook was there. Records of those nights. She didn't need it anymore. But she didn't throw it away. To remember. The days she faced fear. The moments she found truth. She sat at the table. It was dinner Mom cooked. The smell of warm soup. Let's eat. Enjoy. The two ate quietly. It was a peaceful time. Lena, Mom said. Yeah? I'm really proud of you. Lena looked up. Mom was smiling. What do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know yet. But, Lena thought for a moment. I want to do work that helps people. Yes, you'll do well. Night came. Lena lay in bed. She could see stars out the window. It was a clear night. She recalled the past few weeks. The frightening moments. The times she was alone. But herself who didn't give up. Lena learned that truth is sometimes hidden. But if someone has courage, it can be revealed. And that she wasn't alone. Evan was there. Mom eventually came back too. Glenridge was now truly peaceful. Not false peace, but peace built on truth. Lena closed her eyes. Tomorrow another day would begin. She'd go to school, meet friends, live an ordinary day. But Lena knew that she was no longer the quiet girl she used to be. Now she was someone who knew how to use her voice. And that was enough. The town fell asleep. This time for real. Lena also fell into deep sleep. It was comfortable sleep. The sounds of dawn were no longer heard. Because the town had finally awakened. And a new morning was dawning.